Welcome back to Sports Wagering University's YouTube page here. We are looking at the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. I'm joined here by Nick Hubb today. Nick, how are you?
Hey, Kyle. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about the Arch Madness here, and this should be a competitive bracket.
This is always one of my favorites, Nick. I really like Arch Madness. Besides the great name, there's some great games in this one. And, one of the first tickets punched here to the NCAA tournament. This has always been a fun one for me. As a big totals bettor, I want to start out here talking about how this game or how this conference is played to the under consistently year after year. Pulled up the stat here, Nick. The under is a whopping 66-37 in the last 103 postseason games here. Now, I'm not the only one who knows that, and the odds makers are going to adjust the numbers, so be careful about this. Also, if you like the under, I would bet it early rather than late, because I would say you'll probably be getting 3 or 4 points worse the later you wait in this conference tournament. So let's get into this one here, but I still would lean to the unders in this conference. There's a lot of good defenses, teams that play slowly. Nick, let's pull up the bracket here for the MVC. So as we look at this bracket, we see at the top of the bracket, it's an interesting setup here because you've got number 1, Northern Iowa. Remember that last game they were playing Northern Iowa and Loyola to try to figure out who won this. And then it turns out Northern Iowa wins. Loyola is the 4 seed. And the 4 seed is the massive favorite in this one, Nick. I have some strong opinions about this. I'm surprised that Loyola is plus 140 or so most places. Yeah. I like Loyola as a team. I imagine you do as well. I think they're well coached, a good team. There's no way I could take plus 140 here. I mean, this is a really, really tough route. Bradley's not an easy win. Northern Iowa is clearly not an easy win. And then, the bottom of the bracket's tricky. You got some good teams down there. Loyola, you're asking a lot out of them to win this conference tournament, and plus 140, just a terrible number in my opinion. We talk about this at Sports Wagering U. Moneyline rollovers can be much better than futures at times. In this case, if you like Loyola, you don't want to take plus 140. No way you want to take plus 140. You just want to bet on them, roll it over game after game on the money line. Nick, do you agree that that's a tough price there on Loyola?
100%. And maybe they're a big favorite because they're playing the best coming into this. Their point margins 18 plus 18 compared to the other top 5 teams playing maybe 3 to 8 points in a point differential. Yeah, but that there's no way they should be up that high. I would definitely look at Northern Iowa, Missouri State, Drake, and Bradley to possibly upset anybody. I mean, this is wide open, in my opinion. For any of those top 5 teams, I think can win this. So you're getting a better price at, let's see, Northern Iowa's 490, Missouri State's 490, Drake is plus 500, and Bradley's 700. So, yeah, no money line rollovers in this bracket. But yeah, you're looking at a conference that just beat up on each other. I mean, Loyola lost 2 to Drake and then split with the other 3 I just talked about. Northern Iowa swept Missouri State and split the other 3. Like I said, Missouri State swept Bradley and Drake and then split with Loyola and lost 2 to Northern Iowa. Like I said, Drake swept Loyola, split with Northern Iowa, and lost 2 to Mississippi or Missouri State and Bradley. And then Bradley swept Drake and split the other 3. So this is wide open, in my opinion. I definitely would take and I like Missouri State in this one because of their offense. I think they could cause trouble. And Bradley's defense is the best in the conference. So that's another team to look on from that perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this is a wide open conference tournament that's not really priced like it's wide open. Very surprising pricing, in my opinion. I do want
Yeah.
to pull this up here real quick, Nick. This is a tournament simulator from Bart Torvik. So on the screen here, you see he has odds of who will win the championship based on the setup here. Loyola Chicago, 27.6%. Obviously, that's far worse than the plus 140 price, not even close.
Right.
Interestingly, Missouri State, 26.9%, almost exactly tied with them. Drake, 13.2, Northern Iowa, 14.6. KenPom's numbers are pretty similar. So I think that's pretty interesting when you consider that these are priced the way they are. And, Gage Prim from Missouri State, a really good big guy down in the paint. I like Missouri State here. This is a team where I believe you get Missouri State in a spot where they play against in the bracket Valpo maybe in that first game, or Evansville, probably Valpo. Valpo is not a very good team. I think Missouri State would have a good shot against them. And Drake in their first game at the bottom plays Southern Illinois. Now, in both of their games in the regular season, Drake beat Southern Illinois on the last play of the game. They won by 1 and 2 points. So that's not a layup by any means. It's one of the reasons I prefer Missouri State versus Drake, because I think they have an easier first game when you look at this bracket setup. And as far as Northern Iowa, I like Northern Iowa as a team, but I find it hard to take Northern Iowa when this is one Northern Iowa team that is going to have a really tough path. As much as we said we don't love Loyola Chicago's price, you could definitely argue they're the best team in this conference. They probably are. That's a really tough path for Northern Iowa. They just beat them at home in their last game. It's going to be hard for them to beat them again. I don't like their odds there. Even a money line rollover with them, to me, not too intriguing. I do want to pull up here, if I can, the shot quality data here. This is Shot Quality's look at the Missouri Valley Conference. You see Northern Iowa was 14-4. Shot Quality believes they should have been 11-7. So definitely got fortunate in several of their games. In fact, if I pull up their games specifically, you can see here that there were a lot of games that they were extremely close. They won by a large margin. They should have won by a much smaller margin. So Shot Quality says, hey, you can't win all those games that should have been that close, is kind of how that one goes. I'll pull up another team here real quick. Drake, there's some games that they won here that they should have lost, including the game against Loyola Chicago. Missouri State, they played a game that they lost that they should have won, according to Shot Quality. Just some interesting stats. And then Missouri State, if you look at Missouri State here along the right, you see how good they are offensively. 17th in the half court, even 45th in transition. Isolation, they're 4th most efficient in the country. Post up 18th. That's because of Gage Prim. He's been so good for them. Now, they're not great defensively, but one thing they do well is they do not let people get to the rim. And I know, Nick, you're probably like me. I don't like those teams that give up those easy layups. At least make it be a farther shot. Make it be the three or the mid-range jumper. Also, this being at St. Louis at the Enterprise Center, where all these have gone under so much, I like a team that can get into the paint and score in the paint easier, rather than a team that has to be shooting a lot of threes. That shooting backdrop is a tough one. So that's kind of the way I look at it. At any price better than plus 400, I really like Missouri State in this one. This is one of my favorite ones I've seen so far. That's implied probability of about 18 or 19% for them to win it. I certainly think it's at least 25% that they win this conference tournament. So I like the odds there for Missouri State. You as well, Nick?
I do as well, Kyle. And to your point there, you have the teams that thrive in three-point shooting tend to be more inconsistent in tournament time. You want to have more balance at the inside game. So that's definitely a plus for Missouri State. And a team with a better defense like Bradley, now that's going to be a tough matchup with Loyola and Bradley. That's going to be a good game on Friday night or Friday afternoon, the way it looks. But that's definitely the tougher bracket on top than it is below, with Missouri State and Drake. And did I say Missouri State? Yeah, Missouri State swept Drake in the regular season. So some people say, third time's a charm. That's usually not the case, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, it's just well, if you beat them the first 2 times, you can't beat them the third time. If you have a good matchup against them or you're better than them, it doesn't really matter if it's the third time or not. Now, certainly, Drake could beat Missouri State. Neither one of us would be shocked. Having said that, Missouri State's a really good team, and I think they're underpriced in this market. So I'd be looking to bet unders here. Look to bet them early when you can. Be careful because there's going to be some really low numbers. I think, Nick, you're probably like me. I hate those under 116 or 117 or something.
Yeah.
All it takes is one hot stretch and you're beat on something like that. So do be careful about the number. Obviously, we could see some overtime games here or foul fest late. So make sure you get a good number. Bet it early rather than late if you bet the under. I don't bet overs at this conference tournament, Nick. It's either under or pass. That's my two options.
It makes sense with the numbers there you showed. Loyola and Bradley were the only two teams that have won this tournament in the past 4 years. So can that change? Obviously, yeah. This is a very competitive conference over the years, but those are the only two teams that have won it in the past 4.
Yeah, and Loyola, while they're good, they're not as good as they've been in some of the past few seasons,
Right.
without Krutwig down low. This is a good Loyola team, but they're not dominant like the prices make it look like they are. So both of us liking Missouri State, I think both of us agree that if you want to bet a future or even a money line rollover, you probably want to go to the bottom of the bracket there with Missouri State or Drake or somebody like that. Stay away from the top where there's really good teams, Bradley, Northern Iowa, Loyola, all tough matchups up there. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the work at sportswageringu.com. Nick, I know there's been some written previews going up there as well, correct?
Yeah, myself and Devin Ellington are tackling some of these smaller conferences, and we're definitely going to be getting into every single conference preview before the games start. So check out sportswageringu.com. We have everything underneath the blog, and you can, before you place a bet, just preview our written write-ups, and it'll give you some idea of what has happened in the past, what the odds are, and that sort of thing. So check it out there.
Absolutely. And check out Sports Wagering U on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Sign up for the free picks newsletter there, the free newsletter there at sportswageringu.com. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel here at Sports Wagering University. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kyle Hunter Sports Picks. I know Nick also has a YouTube. He has Executing the Edge podcast. Check that out as well. So we appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions for any of us, we're always available via Twitter. You see our handles down there at Nick Hub Sports and at Kyle Hunter Picks. Again, best of luck to everybody and enjoy conference tournament week.
Good luck, everybody.